All right, hello and welcome. My name is Gediminas. We're going to talk today about social media, and I'll give you 7 tips on um, promoting your business on social media. And maybe these will help you. Maybe they'll give you some ideas, and maybe it'll correct some of your mistakes, etc. So, on the right-hand side, you should be able to see a chat box. So, if you have any questions, you can feel free to type them in. And if I see any questions by the end, I'll try and answer those, and if we have any time left. But hopefully this will be useful, and you'll get some valuable tips from this, and you'll be able to apply some of this stuff in your social media, and business. But before we get into social media, if we think about um, business in general, about network marketing, one thing that we need to understand is what we do in this business. Well, we really do 3 things in network marketing. One, we sell quality products to people, right, to customers, etc., and whatever you call it, recommending, sharing, or selling. In the end, is just moving of the product, right? Number 2, we build team. So we invite other people who would like to earn extra income or would like to build their own business, etc., and we teach them how to do the same. And number 3, we become leaders, and we help our team, our structure, our organization to achieve more, to produce more, to have better, productivity, etc. So these are the 3 things that we do. Now, exciting thing about social media is that social media can help you to do all of those things, right? So it can help you to attract more customers, and educate them about your products and services, etc. Number 2, it can help you to attract people like you who might be interested in building their own business and becoming business owners, and running their own home-based business. And number 3, it can help you to increase the productivity of your whole team if you use the social media in the right way. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and share those 7 tips with you guys that might give you some ideas and help you in social media and promoting your business. So tip number 1 is identify your passions outside of your business. Now, why would I say that? We just said that we're going to talk about promoting your business on social media, and I'm saying you need to identify your passions and your interests outside of your business. You see, the problem is that most people, well, not most people, but a lot of people, they only post about their business on social media, and it becomes a bit boring. It becomes a little bit too much for their friends, their followers, etc. If every single post that you post is look at my business, look at my business, look at my business, look at my business, or look at my products, look at my products, look at my products, right? It becomes a little bit too much for those people, right? So that's why most people are not actually getting the hang of it in a proper way. So what you want to do is you want to find other things a part of your business that you're passionate about, right? So maybe you love running, maybe you love football, maybe you love cycling, maybe you love knitting, maybe you like growing plants in your garden, or whatever it is, right? You need to identify some of your interests, some of your hobbies, some of your passions that you can put also out on your social media. Now, that will do 2 things. One, it will attract other people who have similar interests. Because what sort of people do we like? We usually like the type of people that are like us, right? Because we want everybody to be like us because we are perfect, right? So we like people like us. So when you start sharing your passions and your hobbies and your interests, you are naturally going to start finding other people who are also into those types of things, right? And you will instantly start building a rapport with them, because if they are into football and you're into football and you start sharing stuff and discussing, etc., putting pictures and videos, etc., people will start going, oh wow, I like what this person is doing, etc. And by building that rapport, later you can then attract them to also to be interested in your business. Because if they feel that, wow, this person is like me, then if they see that you're also doing a business, they might go, well, actually I would like to find out what sort of business do they do as well, right? So that's really important. Also, when you start posting about other things that you're interested, you look a little bit more like a human, right? And a little bit less like a business machine, right? That only posts, join me, join me, join me, join me, join me, join me, right? So it basically shows that you are a normal person, that you have a real life. So again, like some people, and I do that, I post pictures of my family, when I'm out with my children, when I'm out, with my family, etc. And that shows people, they can relate to that. They can see that I'm a normal person, etc. Right? So it's all about that. It's all about finding your passions. Also, when you identify, okay, these are the things that I'm interested in, bam, bam, bam. Then you can also start looking for groups. For example, if we talk about Facebook, you can look for groups on Facebook. Let's say you're into running, right? You can then join groups that are running groups. There are fitness groups. There are people, who love to run, whatever, right? And you will find like-minded people there too that you can connect to. You'll have something to talk to them about, right? Because you're into the same thing. So you can discuss different things, because sometimes I say to people, look, before you recruit somebody on social media, you need to build a bit of a relationship. And people go, well, how do I build a relationship? What should I talk about with these people? So look, if you go and find other people who are into stuff that you like, then it should be easy for you to talk to them because you already have something to talk about. You talk about your passion, you talk about your hobby, etc. So hope this is making sense. So that's tip number 1. Tip number 2, friends first, business second, right? What I mean by that is you want to build some relationship with people before you try to recruit them. I always give an example. I say, look, you wouldn't go on a street, you wouldn't come to a bus stop and you see somebody there, you wouldn't approach that person and go, hey, join my business. Right? Because it would just be weird. That person would run away from you, go, get away from me. What do you want, right? But isn't that what so many people do on social media? They get on social media, they message somebody, and the first message they send, here's my joining link, here's my shop link, go and buy something, go and join my business, right? And the person is thinking, oh, this is weird, this is just spamming, and they block them, right? So what you want to do is build some relationship first. How do you build relationship on social media? For example, Facebook, right? Well, you do that by liking other people's posts, by commenting on those posts, by sharing those posts, by congratulating other people, by conversing with other people, right? So when you post something out there, why do you post it? Well, no, why? But what do you like to happen? If you put a nice photo out there, what do you like to happen? You probably, if you like most people, you like when other people liking your photo. You like when they put little hearts or little smiley faces, etc. if it's funny, right? You like when people comment. If somebody comments, you go, wow, what did they comment? What did they say, right? And if somebody shares, oh my gosh, you're like best pals with that person. You're like, oh, wow, this person shared my post, etc. right? Well, guess what? You can do exactly the same thing. If you start liking, commenting, and sharing other people's stuff, they will go, wow, without even thinking about it, subconsciously, they will start liking you because they keep seeing the notification popping up, that this person liked your post, this person just commented on your post, this person just shared your post, etc. And they will gradually start liking you. Then the next step, of course, is to start conversing with them. So actually messaging them maybe and saying, hey, amazing post today. I really like that motivational video that you shared, or I really like that, whatever fitness video that you shared today, etc. Really, I got some great stuff from that. Thanks for doing that. Whatever. And that starts the conversation. They say, hey, no problem, whatever. And that now opens the door for communication, saying, hey, how are you doing anyway? How's things? What do you do for a living nowadays? Blah, 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 right? So you can start connecting with those people. You can start building relationships. And then using that, you can then, transition into talking to that person about the business, right? Where you might also go, hey, by the way, whatever, right? Or my personal favorite is asking people, what do they do for a living? Because if I ask somebody, hey, what do you do for a living? And they tell me what do they do for a living, etc. Guess what they're going to ask me? They're going to go, well, what do you do for a living? And that gives me now an opportunity to say, hey, I help people to start a part-time business from home. I help people to, earn some extra income, etc. Whatever you like to say, right? So that gives you then an opportunity to transition that conversation into, hey, do you keep your options open? Would you be interested in learning more about that? If I sent you a video, about my company, would you watch it, etc. right? So that allows you to transition instead of sending the first message you send is the link to join your business, because you will just get blocked, and people will not like that. I can promise you that. Okay. Strategy number 3. Strategy number 3 is be yourself, but be the best self you can be. One thing you don't want to do is you don't want to be faking it, or whatever. Be authentic, be transparent. So make sure that people see the real you in your social media, etc. When you're posting stuff, etc. They want to see. People want to see real people. They don't want this, cheesy commercial stuff, etc. only. So they want to see who you are, etc. But one thing I would say, I would recommend, now again, you can, do it or not do it, it's up to you, but I wouldn't discuss religion, race, or politics on your Facebook. Right now, you might have some strong views in terms of politics, and you might be really religious, etc. And it's all very fine. It's no problem. But if your goal is to sort through people and attract people to you, right, who might be interested in joining your business or buying your products, etc., if you start, voicing very strong opinions about politics or about religion or about race or whatever, you are bound to lose some of your audience, right? Because if you are really conservative, right, so then you're going to lose some Tories or whatever. I'm not into politics. I don't even know what that means, right? But whatever, right? So if you promote something really strongly, and they say a few things you don't discuss is like religion or politics, because you can never find a common whatever, right? You're always going to be, like with your opinions, etc. So you might want to skip that bit and not, don't put too much in your social media about it. Also, you might want to watch your language. I know that the F word and the S word and all the words now are a lot more flexible. People use that all the time on social media, on television, etc. But I tell you what, there are people who will get offended by it if you use those type of words. So again, if your goal is to attract as many people as possible to you, if you start swearing on your social media and using profanity, etc., you are bound to lose some of your audience. I unfriend people quite often because of the stuff they post, right? If I see the stuff that is just not right, like when I look at it, I go, whoa, I don't want to see that stuff on my timeline. I will unfriend those people, right? Because I don't want to see that sort of stuff on my time. And I'm very I'm not very sensitive person, so I can imagine that there's a lot of people who would block people and who would unfriend people for a lot less than what I would do, right? So you want to make sure that, again, you're not losing a lot of your potential prospects just because you're posting stuff that is really not ethical or really not polite, etc., right? And think always about the consequences. Is it worth for me to share this stuff, or is it worth for me to post something like that? Is it not gonna cause more damage than good, etc.? So that's tip number 3. Tip number 4 is time management, right? So social media can be an amazing tool, but it can really, really become also a huge time waster, because the time you're spending on social media is not necessarily the time you spend building your business, because if you spend 3 hours a day on Facebook watching dancing cats, etc., that I don't think that's going to help you to build your business very much, right? So you want to make sure that the time you do spend on your business, time on social media, you need to make sure that that time is productive. And probably, again, getting back to what we started with, that what we do in this business is sell products, build a team, and increase the productivity of that team. Then most of your time that you do spend on social media for business should be then focused around those 3 things. How can I attract more customers to me? How can I attract more team members to me? And how can I increase the productivity of my existing team with the use of social media, right? So if you think about that, then it will allow you, and it'll give you some ideas. Okay, so then I need to do this, that on my social media, because those things will help me to achieve those things, right? So be social on purpose, right? Now, I'm not saying, hey, you can't socialize and have fun on Facebook and just scroll through the feed and watch all the dancing cats, etc. That's no problem. But please, please, please don't count that as your business time. Because you're kidding yourself and you're kidding, everyone else if you're telling them, hey, I spent the whole day for business, etc. And you just really wasting time on social media, right? So, in my personal opinion, you should have a goal. You should have a target. Like how many people a day you're gonna attract, to buy your products? How many people a day is your target to prospect for business, right? How many eyeballs on the presentation are you gonna get today? Right, on social media and every other day, etc. So you should have some sort of a target. I have a personal target on how many personal messages I sent out. I have a personal target on how many posts to groups I do every day. I have a personal target on how much information I share with my team on our social media groups and things like that, right? I have a target to do a webinar at least once a week on a Zoom, right? Which I record and then I share it, I'll put it on my team's Facebook group, etc. So all of those things, it's what I call DMO, daily method of operation. So you should have some sort of an idea, because again, if you want to be a real business, then start acting like a real business, right? If you went to Coca-Cola, I'm sure they have a strategy for social media. They're not just posting stuff willy-nilly and spending, money on advertising just like when they feel like it. They have a certain strategy. What do they want to achieve with the social media? How much money they're going to invest? How much time they're going to invest in that? And they execute that every single day. You should do the same if you want to be a serious business. Okay. Strategy number 5 is do's and don'ts. So I'll start with don'ts. Don't spam, right? Because you will get blocked, you will get reported, you will annoy people, and it's just bad practice. That's the stuff that causes bad name for the whole of our industry, right? When people do marketing in the wrong way, it doesn't just damage them, it actually damages the whole of network marketing industry, because then people think, well, the next time you speak to somebody and you say, hey, I do network marketing, they go, oh, another one of those, right? Because they've been exposed to bad type of marketing, to bad ways of people promoting and things like that. So you want to make sure that you're not spamming. So what sort of spam you might be doing on your social media? One is constantly posting about your product or your business opportunity. And I'm talking constantly, and I've seen people who do that, literally like all day long. They only post, product, or business. And when you do your social media, think from the outside. I know you're excited about your product and your business, etc. But try for a moment, think as an outsider, as somebody who's looking from the side to your timeline. Think as you would be one of your friends, or one of your followers on Facebook. What if you saw that type of feed going all day long? How long would you take it before you go, I had enough of that, let me unfriend this person or unfollow this person, right? So you need to understand that it has to be mix of posts. There's loads of different opinions and loads of different strategies on how much of business posts and non-business posts you should say. I heard a strategy which I think is pretty good, where somebody said, look, for every 6 posts you post, 1 or 2 should be product or business related, and the other 4 should be what they call relationship building posts. So maybe it's something motivational, maybe it's something inspirational, maybe it's something just about you or your family, or you just getting about on your day, etc. Something nothing to do with your business or your products, right? That is a good balance, where people go like, oh, I like that, I like that, I like that, and boom, a little ad, and they just go like, okay, I can put up with that, and then there's something that I like again and again and again, right? So this way they don't get offended. And when you do put something out, a recruiting post or a selling post, they almost like, because they built the relationship with you, they almost feel like, let me have a look at that. They almost feel like obliged to have a look at what you're promoting, because you haven't been abusive, because you haven't been offensive, because you haven't been, putting it into their face all the time. It counts really, really well. It's almost like, commercials on television. Think about if they reversed it. If you had 1 hour of commercials and 5 minutes of the movie, and then another hour of commercials, another 5 minutes of the movie, how long would you watch that channel? Not very long, right? So you want to make sure that you're getting that ratio on your social media as well, right? You're not overkilling it with your recruiting, etc. But I said also that I will say some do's. Well, do raise curiosity. For me, social media is all about piquing people's interests. It's all about raising curiosity. You see, before you can sell somebody your products or your business opportunity or whatever, the biggest task you have is to get their attention. There is so much information. There is so much stuff out there. People are bombarded every single day by all the information, by all the advertisements, by all the media coming from the television, radio, telephones, laptops, etc., right? So just getting through to that person is a huge job before you even get a chance to present what is it that you have to present, to offer to them, etc. So you want to make sure that the stuff you do post that raises their curiosity, that stops them through scrolling down the feed and go, oh, what is that? Let me have a look into that, right? Because again, too many people just put generic stuff, boring stuff that really doesn't, catch their eye, doesn't really get people interested, and doesn't raise curiosity, right? So you want to make sure that you post stuff that will make people curious. One of the things that I'm really, really pro for is not to post too much with your company name and not to post too much, with your brand name, etc. Why do I say that? Because that almost defeats the objective, because it kills the curiosity very often. Because if I scrolling through my feed and I see your post which says I'm with the best company, with the best product, and with the best everything, do I need to contact you now? Not really. I can just go, okay, Google the best company and see what it is all about. If it's good, which is great, then let me message, find out who's the top leader in the best company and join the top leader. Why would I join you, right? Because I don't even know who you are or whatever, right? So I might go and join the top leader. Also, I might Google your best company and find something negative about it. And what's the chance of doing that? Well, it's a big chance, because it's all like you can, put in electricity, and there's some people skeptical of electricity, So trust me, there's always something negative to be found, etc. So I always try and promote stuff. When I post stuff, I try not to put my company name on it. Instead, I try to put something that will raise their curiosity. Maybe I'll post something about personal development. Maybe I'll post something about time freedom. Maybe I'll post something about financial freedom. Maybe I'll post something, me in the beach with my girls saying, hey, another day at the office, or whatever, right? Something that will catch that person's eye, and they'll think, what is that guy doing? What is it that he does? Etc. And if I post something like that, can they Google that? Well, they can't really Google that. They have to message me to find out, what on earth is this guy doing? What on earth is he offering, right? Because I haven't told them, right, in my post. So that's what really you want to do. You want to catch their eye, and you want to raise their curiosity enough where they either click on the link that you posted or they message you to find out more. What is it that you do, etc., right? So that's a good do. And then tip number 6 is thou shalt not be boring, right? So you want to make sure that whatever you do, your social media is interesting, is exciting, and it's something where a person looking at that will feel like, wow, I'd like to spend more time with this person. I would like to spend more time, talking to them, communicating with them, etc. Because again, very often I look at through my feed on social media and I see somebody, I hate my life. That's their status update. Wow, I'd love to spend more time with that person, right? Right? Not really, right? But that's what some people post out there, why am I so unlucky? Why life is so horrible, etc. Amazing, right? You're just attracting loads of people like a magnet by doing that, right? Well, actually, probably not. So I want to make sure that when I come across in social media, that somebody, who follows me on social media might think, well, wow, this guy's pretty positive. He's pretty exciting. He's pretty motivational. He's pretty, clever or smart or whatever, and this is a guy that I'd like to spend more time talking about or following him or watching his stuff or whatever, right? Because this way, then I can warm them up to sometimes where even they will message me saying, hey, I've been following your stuff. You look like an interesting person. What is it that you do, right? Or, so, because I have, things on my social media that says like, I'm a business coach and I help people to earn extra income, etc. I have people message me saying, hey, I saw that you help people to start a home-based business. What is it that you do? What it is all about? Can you tell me more about it, etc. Now that didn't happen on the day one, but as I keep building rapport with people, once in a while that will happen, right? So you want to make sure that the stuff you're putting out there is interesting, is even the stuff that are not related to business. You want to look for things, like when you're scrolling through your feed, you want to look for things that you think, well, wow, that's funny, and I think other people would find it funny, or that's interesting and I think other people would find it interesting, or that's motivational and I think other people would be motivated if they read this post or whatever, right? And share that type of stuff. Those of you who have me on social media, hopefully you see some of that stuff, as I'm posting it on a daily basis, things that I like. But I think people who are my friends would also like this stuff, or whatever, right? So that's really important. And then the last step number 7, or tip number 7, is plan, do, review. Now, don't be one of those people who says, well, when I have a perfect social media strategy, that's when I'm going to start posting stuff on my social media. Because you'll never have that perfect strategy unless you start doing it and unless you start practicing, right? So number 1 is plan. Like I mentioned earlier on, have a plan. What is it that I want to achieve with this social media? Which platform I will use. Now, my advice, if you want to build your network marketing business, definitely start with Facebook. Definitely use Facebook to begin with, right? If you're not already doing it. Then you might want to go into Instagram and Snapchat and LinkedIn and do whatever else you want. But at the moment, you know, at this time of whatever recording, Facebook is the biggest thing, right? There's like 2 billion people on Facebook, right? And it is working really, really well. So trust me, you want to use Facebook as much as you can, but have that plan of strategy. What is it that I'm going to do? How am I going to do it, etc. Then do it, right? Don't just make a plan, but actually do it, execute it, and not just for 1, 2, or 3 days and go, oh, that doesn't work, you know, let me go back to do whatever I did before, right? Make sure that you stick to that plan for the next 30 days, 60 days, maybe 90 days, right? So if you made a decision that, okay, I'm going to put so many posts every day, I'm going to send a friend request to so many people every day, I'm going to message so many people every day, etc. Make sure you stick to that and you follow through, because those results are not going to come right away. You know, again, it's like the real world, right? If you went out into the town center and started talking to people about the business, are you going to recruit somebody right away the first day? Well, the chances are you won't, right? But if you just keep going to the town and talking to people all the time, you will start recruiting some people. So same on social media, you know, have the goal, first of all, of building relationships with people, really getting to know people, really, finding people who are like-minded, who, are positive, etc. And then you can get into, recruiting them, etc. And then the last part, which is also really, really important, is review. See how is this thing going, right? So if you've been doing it for 3 months, how is that going? Is it giving me the type of results that I want to get? Or maybe not. Maybe I need to learn something, right? Now, again, there's loads of books and programs and video programs and courses on social media that you can learn, etc., and get better and better and better with different strategies, different scripts, different ideas, etc. So again, you just need to like even free stuff, like just go on YouTube and put in, how to build your business on Facebook, right? And you'll have loads of videos and things like that with people giving you tips and things like that, right? But you want to make sure that you review it once in a while and see, okay, so how is it going? Do I need to change strategy? Do I need to increase it, reduce it, whatever, right? Because again, unless you do that, you don't know when you need to change your approach, right? Because if something is not working, it doesn't mean you need to quit. It means you need to change your approach. You do that for a while. If that doesn't work, you change your approach again. If that script doesn't work, you change it. If that doesn't work, you keep changing it until you get it, to where it starts working for you. That's called behavioral flexibility, right? And if you want to become successful, you need to develop that. You can't just quit stuff, if it doesn't work, the first time around, So you just need to make sure that you do this plan, do review, and see how is it going for you? Is it giving you the results, etc., and see what works best. Right? If you've been doing it for a month and you're doing a couple of different strategies and you see that one strategy is giving you a lot more results than everything else, then guess what? You should spend more time then on that strategy that gives you better results, etc. Because then obviously you'll get more of the same, right? Okay, guys. So these are the 7 tips for today. I hope you found them useful. I hope you got some value from